you tell me a little bit about how parenting is like for you guys on the with the whole COVID? How what's what's been one of your biggest frustrations with parenting with the kids at home?
We've, when everything came about for us, it wasn't that much of a change because we've been working from home for a while now. So that adjustment wasn't as challenging. But I think for me personally, I never really signed up to be a homeschool teacher. And so that really threw me for a loop, and I had to sort of adjust myself and figure out what's the best way to help them, help me, and not all kill each other at the same time. We're figuring out that process.
And how do you guys, I guess, distinguish, because you need time for yourselves, time for work, but then you also need family time. And, before it was easier to say, okay, well, when the kids are home, it's family time. And when they're away, how do you maybe create some intentionality around family time now that we're together all the time?
I think one of the ways we do that is we're just intentional about, okay, turn off the games, turn off the, put that away. Now we're going to do something together as a family, whether it's play a board game or go for a walk or, play outside or whatever it might be. It's like, okay, we're doing this together. And, sometimes it's embraced right at the outset. Sometimes it's, progress to get them there as far as being on board with doing family time. But it's just those types of things, being intentional about carving out, some time during the day to do that, have that activity.
How has all this impacted your work with the MS benefits and what you guys are able to do for the companies who are looking for help with their benefits, and who also have who are working from home and trying to create some more intentionality around their own work too?
I think business-wise, doing voluntary benefits, we've definitely had a slowdown in terms of, we're not, typically we would go on site and work with employers and meet with employees and do those types of things. Obviously, we haven't been able to do that the last couple of months. So there's been a little bit of a slowdown there in terms of production, but at the same time, it's given us a nice pause to really strike a nice work-life balance and, stay active in terms of, getting engagement on the different social media platforms, whether it's LinkedIn or Facebook, or just different warm market and, doing Zoom calls or conference calls or, furthering relationships or discovering new relationships, during this time. But I also think it's given an opportunity to reinvent a little bit and look at the business and, look at different offerings and additional services we can do and, just kind of clear a path for where we go from here.
So what are some of the services you offer now, and then what are some of the ones that you're looking to expand into?
Most of what our services now are on the voluntary benefits side. Core products would be legal services and identity theft protection through Legal Shield. We also provide a variety of medical-related services through Colonial Life, things like vision, dental, short-term disability, accident coverage, things of that nature. There's some complementary services that we can provide to employees at a company. Doesn't require any participation in the benefits or not, but by simply allowing us to come in and make those services available, we can either offer a free telemedicine to all employees, or we can offer a service that gives access to registered dietitians free of charge to the employees so they can get some coaching and guidance on healthy eating habits and so forth. But then we've also started to go down the path of more consulting and training and seminar roles, particularly around mindfulness. I'll let Lee speak to that. She spearheads that initiative for the business.
Well, right about January of this year, we were really going to kick off some of our innovative benefits, and it was before everything was starting to transpire. And really just noticed that mindfulness, especially in the workplace, in the corporate world, is somewhat of a mystery. And so I just wanted to give some basics. And so we've created just a basic introduction to what is mindfulness, and it will help employees and people individually just be able to start their own journey. And so that gave us sort of this innovative way to offer some additional benefits that aren't just the health and the dental. And as you see in our world, after everything happened, it needed to be evaluated. That's one of the benefits from having the virus, is that the workplace now is being evaluated. What is important? Is it important to be there from 6 in the morning till 6 at night and not have that family time? Or, we went the opposite swing, right? Where we're home all the time and there's no break from one another. So now you can really evaluate, well, what are the things that are important to us and what are the things that aren't? And that's all of us collectively as a world, not just, the United States. Every single person has faced this exact same challenge. So coming out of it, all of us have an opportunity to give what our talents are and to give back, and to just help people sort of move forward with that work-life balance, if that is that even such a thing, right? And I think we all define what that is ourselves, We've got time set aside. We did a schedule. We have a checklist. We have a reward system for the kids, but that gives him time to be able to go and focus on what matters most in the business. We would call them A activities, to where you're building the relationships, you're having the phone calls, your movement. And the kids know that that's his time to be able to be there, but that's their time to do their academics or go outside. And then, so we're really looking to balance that, but then to help others kind of down their path as well too.
And are you able to share some of your experiences having worked from home for, it's been almost a decade now, I guess? How long have you been doing the benefits now full time?
About 15 years.
Okay. Yeah, so you've been working through some of these issues again for quite a while now. What are some of your biggest takeaways, even from before all this? What's managing family life, working from home, and then creating intentionality around all of that? Something that maybe some of us are dealing with for the first time. What's something you can talk to about that?
I think for me, it's, I would say one thing is to cut yourself some slack. Especially if new to figuring it out. I know, like Lee had said, we've realized being homeschool teachers is definitely a new frontier. And I think anytime you're faced with something new, it certainly can come with a level of frustration or anxiety. So I think to take a pause, take a deep breath, take a few minutes for yourself and realize that, you got this. You just got to, kind of plan, do, review, and figure it out. And sometimes it's, building an airplane while you're flying it to a certain degree. But I think, throughout the day, we have enough time throughout the day to do all the different things we want to do, even if it's a few minutes here on this project or a few minutes here on that activity. Trying to have some balance, but at the same time, being okay with being out of balance a little bit. And when you think about life, there's times where, if you're starting a business or starting a new job or a new career, you're probably going to be unbalanced and heavily weighted on career-wise, which makes sense. Or, if you're starting a family or you just have a child, you're probably going to be pretty unbalanced, more towards family and so forth. Or, if you're training for a marathon, you might be more unbalanced, doing that. So I think giving yourself some latitude and permission to have some flexibility is important to help navigate and do it in a way that's not stressing you out or stressing out the people around you. But also having buy-in too of, hey, I've got this going on, this project, this activity, I need to focus here, but then once I'm finished with this, then we'll go do whatever, spend whatever time or do whatever activity.
If I could add anything to it, one thing I would say is that I agree with what Mike says. Diamonds are made under pressure. So we have to start realizing that it's okay to be in a situation that doesn't feel good. And that's what mindfulness is. It's recognizing, this doesn't feel good, and it's okay that it doesn't feel good, but what can I learn from it? And what is it that I can take, and how can my consciousness grow because I've faced this adversity? And that's what I really try to teach the children as well, too, is that you're going to have this in life. No matter what, we can't escape pressure. It's always going to be there. It's how we deal with it, or how we accept it, or how we look at it. And then something else that makes you a lot more successful for me personally is how I start my day. Be very intentional about starting the day for you, whatever that means. Does that mean getting up and taking a workout, taking a run? Does that mean getting up and doing a meditation? Does that mean getting up and reading? Or just getting up and being in the quiet for 20 minutes by yourself? But just take time to yourself to start your day, because the rest of the day will flow from that movement.
What's maybe one of your, to sort of shift gears a little bit, what's one of your favorite things that you've done as a family out of everything? I know that you post some amazing things that you've done as a family. So, maybe is there one or two that really stick in your mind that you'd be willing to share with us?
I think one of my most favorite things from all of this that's happened is the Monopoly games that we've been playing. We introduced that to Evan on his birthday in March, St. Patty's Day, and we've had a few games since then where we, each one of us has won, so it's been fun to watch that.
Yeah, I think for me, this is maybe a week ago or 10 days ago or something like that. I don't remember what transpired throughout the day, but I remember it was one of those kind of, it was just a frustrating day overall. This isn't going right. That's not going my way. Those types of things. And then later on in the day, we had a really heavy rain, and me and the kids for maybe, 15 minutes in our clothes, ran around outside in the pouring rain. It rolled around in this giant puddle and got, completely soaking wet. And we had a great time. And I remember I went up and I journaled, and all I added to it was something like, I'm going to remember today is the day we danced in the rain, or something like that. And it was just, I don't remember what the other stuff was going on throughout the day. It doesn't matter. That's the takeaway from that day. So that experience is one that stands out to me over the last couple of months.
You're right, though. It's the memories that we're creating during this time that are going to affect the future. How are we leaving our children? How are we leaving ourselves? Are we frustrated and continuously complaining, or are we accepting change and being resilient and creative about how we move forward?
Yeah, it's almost a moment by moment challenge, but it's one of those things that when you remember to tie into it, it really makes a difference. Is there is there any takeaways you're learning from this family experience that you're also tying in with some of your clients? Are you able to kind of share some of that mindfulness or organization, or is that influencing your business at all, or is it just family time, kind of two separate worlds?
Yeah, it's definitely creating examples, that's for sure. I said that to one point. I was like, so I can put this in my PowerPoint, my presentation. Yeah. I think it's nice to be able to share some things like that, like even seeing it in the family, not just experiencing it personally. If I'm the one training, but to say, okay, you can see where playing in the rain just erased that whole day. None of those other things mattered except for that moment that, I came home, I was away, I came home and everybody was just beaming, and that's not how they were when I left. And so at a drop of a dime, anything can change as long as you're aware of it at the moment. And it's okay to sit in something that's uncomfortable as well too. It's okay to do that and to talk about those and to start to share those type of experiences, because we're meant to make up good and bad. Not everything's going to go our way, but not everything has to be horrible and dismal either. So there's kind of a balance between the two. So yeah, this has definitely given a lot of examples for it, that's for sure. And I think just because it kind of leveled the playing field throughout, everybody's facing the same thing. We can all sort of relate to one another because we're all sort of, this target, we all have the same target now, to wear a mask, to not wear a mask, to, all those decisions. But on the other side of it as well too, because of the legal services that we've been members with for 20 years, the peace of mind to be able to call a law firm and find out what is going on with the rebate check, or as a business owner, my insurance doesn't cover this, or, if I'm going to be opening, do I have to follow these rules, or what are the things that, our lawsuit's going to be facing us? We have that lawsuit coverage. So that in itself has been prominent as well too, is we haven't stopped the message because the message is still pertinent. It's still helpful. It's still helping people. And so we'll continue to provide those benefits that are going to assist individual uniqueness in their lives and help them overcome daily situations. So it's just a matter of continuing to talk about it and let people know who we are, what we do, and how we can help.
What are some of the ways you've been able to, or had to innovate around reaching out to people? I mean, I guess the in-person networking meetings are sort of are less prominent these days, but yeah.
Yeah, I would just say it's mostly been Zoom, calls like this. I call them virtual coffees. Let's get together and chat for 20 minutes. And some of it's been reaching out to existing contacts, on LinkedIn or social or Facebook or any of those things, but also to just looking at new connections. There was I was on Facebook the other day, and they have you may know this person, you may know that person thing, and I was going through looking at that, and there was a lady on there named Tammy. I don't know her, she doesn't know me, but we had some mutual contacts, and I just felt one of those divine nudges to just send a message and send a friend request, because it seemed like we had some mutual philosophies anyway. And so I sent it, and she accepted it, and then I was like, hey, love to have a coffee with you and get to know you a little bit better. So we did that. We had a Zoom call for about 30 minutes, really had a nice conversation, and a lot of what she's doing aligns with what Leah's doing. So I connected those two, and they had a really empowering conversation, and who knows where it might lead to. So I think it's just being aware of any opportunities, any connection, and when you feel that nudge or that inspired thought, to take action on it, to do it and see where it leads.
I think virtually it's opening up a whole new line for us. Instead of trying to, I was thinking about this the other day, instead of trying to, I don't know how having a conversation with a stranger is going to be for a while, right? Because we're meant to be social distancing. And it's like, that's kind of strange, you're like talking from, so doing the virtual thing sort of makes it, I think, a little bit more comfortable maybe for people, but then there's the technology people that aren't into it. So I think it's just a matter of feeling nudges. If I start my day right, then my connections come to me. I don't have to search them out. There's Tammy, actually, I'm part of a board with her to kick off her It's called Vedas Living, and it's an empowerment for women. And so it incorporates nutrition and work goals, but then also mindfulness. And so she's got like this group of women coming together to launch this networking. It's kind of like a BNI type networking, but it's an empowerment women that gives a holistic whole life. And after our conversation, she's like, I'd love for you to be a part of that. So who knows where things will go.
Right.
As long as you just keep moving every day. And one of the problems I think that most people have as an entrepreneur is it's so easy to look at what you don't have and what you're lacking or what you need, and then to continue to focus on that. And if you do, you'll continue to get those type of results instead of thinking about how you want it to be in the end, who you are as a person. On paper, the mindfulness seminars might not be as big as what I would like them to be, but in my heart they are, and I know they will be helpful.
Yeah.
And so the people like Tammy just come because I've got that vision, as opposed to looking at, well, what am I missing, or what aren't I doing today, or why didn't I do this, or I should have done that, or I could have done that. That's what we were saying earlier with it's so easy to get caught up and to do that, our dog, as opposed to she's like, yeah, that's right, don't do that. You got to keep focusing. It's okay to be aware of a negative or a lack, but don't focus on it. Don't hold it. Be able to release it and then focus on how will it feel once you achieve, and then keep those feelings prominent.
Terrific. Well, I appreciate you guys coming on for my very first podcast.
It's our first too.
Yeah.
We experienced it all together.
It's incredible how much just figuring out this technology. It's like I started, thankfully there's some parents at school who are just who live off this technology and have been working off of it for years, and so thankfully been able to pick some of their brains. But it's been a huge learning curve for all this. But
well, good for you. And I like the haircut.
It just calmed.
Did you have your first experience?
Yeah, I'm really lazy about getting to a barber anyways. Every once in a while someone's like, oh, I really like your haircut. It's like, no, I just showered and combed it. So.
I'm glad. Thank you for having that.
Yeah, thanks for having us. I've got my first haircut in 2 months today, so it'll be interesting to see how it goes.
Under the new format.
Yeah.
All right.
That's the thing. Every day is going to be new for each and every one of us. So embrace it with joy. And if it's not fun, just say, okay, what wasn't fun about that? And what do I want to be fun? And then just, focus on that. So.
I hope you guys enjoy this beautiful weather. It's supposed to be fantastic today. So,
yeah.
Take care. All right.
You as well. Thanks, John.